It was summer of 2017, and the world was gripped by the plight of hundreds of thousands of Rohingya refugees. Their stories of rape, arson, and murder at the hands of Myanmar's military led politicians to accuse its leaders of ethnic cleansing. But Myanmar's security forces said they were cracking down on a terror group called the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, also known as Arsa, which killed a dozen police officers that summer. Still, activists said Myanmar's crackdown was a smokescreen to justify a campaign of violence against a Muslim minority whose rights have long been denied. But for the first time, new findings by Amnesty International seem to back Myanmar's allegations that Arsa was behind the killing of nearly 100 Hindus, including the massacre of 45 men, women, and children whose bodies were discovered in a mass grave last year.
8 a.m. on the morning of the 25th of August, Arsa fighters surrounded a Hindu area of a village known as Kamongsak. They forced the men, women, and children to come out from their homes. They rounded them up, brought them together, and then they marched the men, women, and children off to the outskirts of the village. There they divided the men from the women, and then they killed execution style, first the men, and then the vast majority of the women and children as well. There are 8 women who survived on condition that they agreed to convert from Hinduism to Islam. We interviewed all 8 of those women, which in combination with forensic evidence and testimony from people from villages nearby is how we at Amnesty have now come to the conclusion that Arsa is responsible for this massacre.
Myanmar's government has painted Arsa as an Islamic terror group affiliated with transnational networks like Al-Qaeda. But experts say the group is poorly equipped. It has guns, small homemade bombs, and what it describes as a narrow mission to protect Rohingya Muslims. But some are concerned that Arsa could expand and strike again. Inside Bangladesh's sprawling refugee camps, young Rohingya men are seen as easy to recruit.
We will shed as much blood as needed to free our country. That's our motherland. We are citizens of that country. How can we stay here?
But Arsa has denied it's targeting Hindus, saying in a statement that it acts to protect the Rohingya community and that any defensive attacks have always been aimed only at the Burmese terrorist military junta. Rohingya activists say Amnesty's report could have been influenced by Myanmar's government and that it's weakened a global effort to hold the country's leaders accountable. But Amnesty International says it stands by its findings.
It doesn't justify in any way the government's massive response that drove out nearly 700,000 Rohingya. It doesn't excuse it at all, but it does put another layer of complexity into the violence over the past year.
The difficulty remains in gaining access to Myanmar's northern Rakhine state, where all ethnic and religious crimes have yet to be independently investigated and brought to justice. Sandra Gathmann, The Newsmakers.